Hello, this is Professor Gruen, and welcome to the jQuery Noob badge for ICM505. First of all, a little history about jQuery. Way back at the beginning of the internet and the web, back when we were just learning how to do HTML pages, there was a language called JavaScript, and Microsoft had its, and that was by Netscape, and Java and Microsoft had its own version called JScript. Over the years, it standardized into JavaScript, but JavaScript in and of itself didn't do everything that people needed it to do and that it could do. And browsers and business needs and everything just keeps increasing at a greater rate. So a library that was actually written in JavaScript of additional things called jQuery was created and is continually updated. And a lot of our HTML5 stuff that we do uses jQuery. You can either access jQuery from a URL. There's a bunch of jQuery URLs out there, and we'll be doing it that way. Or you can download a version of jQuery, put it on your machine, and access it directly. Um, we've been doing a little bit of work with PHP. PHP, the coding that you write, all that works is done at the server side, and jQuery is different in that it's done at the client side. The actual coding kind of comes. You write some stuff in jQuery, you put some libraries on your server, but when the user clicks on a page, it brings all the jQuery code up into the browser and actually runs in the browser. If you were to Google jQuery plugins, and you'll need to do this for the jQuery, not the new badge, but the second jQuery badge, because you'll get to choose your own plugins that you want to use. If you Google top jQuery plugins, it's jQuery Sprout badge. There's tons of plugins out there that you can download and implement. And if you just start searching on the web under jQuery plugins, you'll see all the stuff that it can do. A lot of them are related to images, a lot of them are related to navigation. Um, One of my favorite places to go is Unheap. There's a million of different jQueries, and you can usually what they do is they have demos of how it works and then downloads. In the past, we had done a thing called JRumble, where when you mouse over an image, the image just shakes and rattles. And I quite honestly find that to not be so practical. And one of the most popular jQuery plugins are jQuery image sliders. So if you Google jQuery image slider, there's a bunch of them there. I started looking at like box slider and this Jesser, and I probably looked about 5 or 6 different sliders that were out there in jQuery, but some of them were very, very powerful, but very, very complicated. And I really wanted us to come up with something very quick and very easy to use. So what I did was I found a super simple slider, and the URL is listed on Blackboard. And you can see that it basically does what we need. It rotates through images, and also if I bring it in, it's also responsive, which I also like. And so this lesson will go over the super simple slider and how to implement it in a real simple, basic way for your website. You have a choice. You can either put it onto your ICM505, choose a page. For me, what I've done is I've implemented the slider on my index PHP page. I've implemented it there. You might want to put your slider under another one of these pages, or if you don't have a slider with your final project template, maybe you can implement it with that. Many templates nowadays come with a slider already available built into it. So you might already have one with your final project. So for this badge, the jQuery Noob badge, it's really up to you. Do you want to just take this and implement it into your IMC505, or can you see a practical application for it for your final project? I also, if you click under Lessons, and under Lessons, you'll see Simple jQuery Slider. This is the bare bones code that is implementing my slider on my template. If I hit the back button, go to my home page, there it is with my template. But as we know, the template is all those includes, all the stuff that makes the major page look pretty. But then into the main content section, we're just going to add a bit of code. So to make life easy, what we can do is go to here and take a look at this this code. So if I go and I do a right-click view source, the actual page is pretty simple. This code here, and this is provided for you in the download zip file. This code here is referencing right here. This references jQuery, which is out on Google. This is referencing the JavaScript library. SSS min.js is the actual code that makes the slider work. And this file, SSS CSS, is the CSS needed to make it work. So we have these three links that have to happen. And then this is a little bit of JavaScript jQuery code that needs to make it work. And if you'll see that this dot slider right here, that is referencing this class right here. If you call this dot pizza, and then here you had a class called pizza, then it would work just fine. So basically what is happening is you could have multiple sliders, and you could, on the same page, call them different things and have them going, but you would have to have sets of code, scripts. You would have to have this bit of code for each one of the sliders that you would have. Also, I want you, so you're going to need this code, and this is placed in your head tag. And then here, you need this code right here. And this is placed wherever you want, and I'm just putting it in the main part of the section. Notice that instead of putting my images in a IMG folder, I created a folder called Gallery 01. This is for organizational purposes, that maybe we might have horses or surfing or music, and we can have different folders for different we don't have to put all of our images in one IMG folder, so we can organize our stuff. Also, there's this span tag that comes with it that allows us to have a caption on it. So this page here is basically my demo HTML page, and that's included in the download. And that's making this work. Now, if I go to my home page, and if I right-click and do a View Page Source, you will see that in my head section, I have added the code for the slider. And then you can see right here, here's that same code for the image, for the image slider itself. So it's actually pretty straightforward. Now, if we go out to Blackboard, boom, 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 and most likely you've already done this. jQuery Noob. You'll see right here, this file here, master SSS master ICM505. Download that file, and here's the link for Super Simple Slider where the original source code came from. Download this file and unzip it. Here's the standard what to do for your nominations, and here's the steps that we're going through right now. So these learning resources. So unzip the file, and go to the SSS Professor Gruen folder. So here is the SSS folder. This is the original code that came with the download from superslider.com, Super Simple Slider. Here is my version of the code. Here is my demo HTML page, and that's the same page that's out on the website. So by, again, viewing the page source, you'll see what I did. And you just basically want to take this and cut it. Cut it and copy it and put it into your page. Maybe what you want to do is copy this whole demo page into your folder and then modify the images. Maybe create your own gallery folder, call it whatever you want, put the images in, make sure images are spelled correctly, and just make a basic page work. From there, what the key thing is in the CSS folder, make sure you have this file, sss.css. Copy this file into your CSS directory in your IMC505 folder or your project folder. Here's my gallery, and notice there's an index.php file there. Let me show you a little trick that I did. If you go to out on my website, Gallery 01, this index page is actually a poor man's gallery that however many pictures you put in there, that index page will automatically make this poor man's gallery. So feel free to copy this index page and modify it to make it work. You'll have to look at it, but basically what it's doing, it's looking at the names of the files in the gallery folder and then building this web page on the fly. So it's pretty cool. That was off subject. CSS, you need that ss.css file. You need to know where your images are going to be. Maybe they'll be in your image folder. If not, in the image folder, please make sure you copy this file, arr.png, into your IMG folder. This is important because that gives you right here your little arrows, and you need that. And then create a folder called JS, and make sure you have the ssmin.js file in there. Now, that brings up an interesting point. Let's go and look at the original source code. Right here in the SSS file, notice that there is an SSS.js file and a min.js file. And notice here on the side, the SSS.js file, it's nice and neat and organized, and you can read it. The min version of it is all cramped up, and all the spaces and all the carriage returns are taken out of it. This is very common because what it does is a lot of times people will create a JavaScript library and do it like this, and this is very readable. And in that readable version, you as a programmer could modify it. You could change it and make it do what you want and tweak it. Be careful when you do it because you might break it. But then what happens is this min version has all the spaces and carriage returns and things taken out of it, so it's actually a smaller file and loads up a lot faster. So we always use the min version because, first of all, we're probably not going to be tweaking other people's JavaScript libraries, and it's going to perform better. Here's the CSS file. It's basically very simple CSS, just a little bit of code attached to it. And if you wanted to, you could take this CSS, because it's all class-based, you could take that and just pop it right into your own CSS file if you didn't want to have this other CSS file to manage, but that's really up to you. I like to keep them separate because I know that one is related to the other. Now, if we go back to my demo page, and I'm going to view source. A couple of the key things. First of all, is you have to call JavaScript, the jQuery library, and that's out on Google. You have to call the library, the super simple slider library, and you have to call the CSS for the super simple library. You have to add this JavaScript code, and then you have to add the actual slider itself. Now let's take a look at my home page. Right click, page, view page source. And the one thing I want to show you that's key is notice that I've put these styles first. That's the stuff that I had before. And then I added this new code afterwards. And so it's always good. Remember that HTML and the page will go sequentially in order, and we want to basically say, I know this works, and the order is very important. And this line right here absolutely has to be, you have to call jQuery before you actually use a JavaScript library. So there really isn't that much to it. I think it's pretty straightforward. The goal of this assignment is to bare minimum implement this slider on any one of your IMC505 pages. I chose to do it on my index page. You can do it wherever you want. If you do not have a slider or an image gallery on your final project pages, maybe you can implement this here. The other thing, like I said, if you Google jQuery image sliders, there's a million of them out there. There's a million of them that are a lot nicer, a lot more powerful, a lot more feature rich, but with that comes a little more work and a little more tweaking. Like I said, I found I was looking at a bunch of pages, and I tried about 5 different ones before I settled on this one. And the only reason I settled on super simple slider is because it's easy, because it's simple, and it just gets us where we need to go very quickly. But again, the option is up to you. So if you have any questions, please post them out on the website, and knock this one off pretty quick. It's not that hard. It probably take you less than a couple of hours. For some of you, maybe even 30 minutes if everything goes right. So I hope this video's been helpful, and I hope to be awarding jQuery Noob badges very soon.